Alrighty, Tuesday, May 28th. Good first session of the week, although a bit slower, well within expectations for what would be considered and treated as a Monday for today's action. Typical Monday type action, limited news, usually going to have a much slower session. That's exactly what we saw today. Taking a look at NQ here, we came into the session wanting to see how price was going to trade versus that 18,930 upside level of interest. This is the 5-minute regular trading hours chart that we're looking at here with the past 3.5 days on the screen. And remember that 930 level definitely has some importance over the past few sessions. So that makes it a very easy watch for us coming into today. We have a slight gap higher. We want to see if buyers can sustain this move. And if they can't, well, there's pretty clear resistance. What we can expect then is for price to fill the gap, which is down here into 18,875, and then potentially trade down into 18,850, which was our next downside level of interest. So as always, if resistance is being rejected, where is price going to go? It's going to trade into that next area of demand or that next area of support, which is exactly what we saw this morning. Now, once price actually tests that 18,850 area, what we see is a bit of a intraday structure build out right there, right into the 10 a.m. reversal time, which is phenomenal. This is a textbook setup right here, 10 a.m. reversal time with price trading at a key level of interest. Sets up the move into VWAP. You get, again, a little bit of consolidation here, a little bit of a range near VWAP, and then price ultimately resolves higher, retesting that 18,930 area, setting up pretty much what could be considered a range day. And so you have a couple of up thrusts here later in the afternoon, even some pullbacks into a VWAP that can be traded. Price sets up a spring later in the afternoon, right around 2:30 here. You have an undercut of the low that is swiftly recovered, and we're back into 18,930. This is typical intraday range trading. You expect a slower session. You want to be expecting action just like this. If we take a look at this 5-minute regular trading hours chart again, we can pretty much see that price, at least for NQ, did not really leave Friday's afternoon range. Right? Just continues to oscillate right through there. What we also see for today is price respecting Thursday's fib retracements. So fib retracements from Thursday's high, that's that after hours or pre-market high, down into Thursday's low. You can see how well that 50% is being respected, that 61%, and that 78% as well. So overall, we've got kind of a micro structure being built out right through here pretty much. Right through there, right? So as far as tomorrow's session, what I want to see, given today's tighter action, is how price trades versus today's range. Do we have an inside day today? The daily candle, just a resting bar, right? Kind of a large wick up there. But overall, not a lot that we can get from this, the shape of this daily bar. So continue to treat this like a range and watch today's high and today's low for tomorrow's session as the primary reference points. So pretty straightforward, 18,930 by 18,850. Essentially will be my main watch heading into tomorrow's session. Not expecting much of an overnight move. So see where we're poised to open. Take it from there in the pre-market prep live stream. Jumping over to ES, a little bit of a different story here, right? ES definitely showing, and this kind of continues with the theme that we've seen for the past few weeks. ES continues to trade within a true range. Look at the shape of this action, essentially from Wednesday, May 15th. Just a sideways range, right? With that Thursday range expansion day versus what we see in NQ, much different when you look at the action from Wednesday, May 15th on NQ. NQ has been showing that relative strength. It did have that series of higher lows, even making fresh all-time highs even before Thursday's range expansion day. Thursday retest that key area of support, and price put in a pretty significant recovery following Thursday's sell-off. And look at the close now. I believe that's session highs on NQ here into the close. So 9:30 going to be that primary watch tomorrow on NQ. But point is, NQ definitely showing that relative strength versus ES, most likely in part by NVIDIA. But regardless, what we have for ES here is just a sideways range, right? So what you want to do with action like this is just get primary reference point coming into the session like we like to do, which was that 52.33 upside level of interest. Price cannot really break above that resistance point this morning, right? So that was our main watch coming into today, 52.33. That has been a key level of interest, continues to be a key level of interest, and is also the near-term range volume point of control. So as always, into regular trading hours open, you want to watch how price responds versus that key area. It is rejected, right? Price is not breaking above 53.33. And so what do we expect then? Well, at the very least, a gap fill, potentially some action down into Friday afternoon's range, down into that 53.10 area right through here. Just looking at Friday's action on a regular trading hours chart. Overall, though, price fills the gap, and then we see a bid versus that 53.20 downside level of interest. This to me is just barcode. Don't want to spend a lot of focus on this type of action. There's not a lot of edge in this type of action, in my opinion. Rather be focusing on NQ, where you see much, much better action. So you do have a couple of opportunities there versus 53.20, but broadly speaking, if you can trade NQ, focus on NQ on a session like this. We see that retest into 53.33 area, that resistance zone. Price rolls over right into 53.05, and then it looks like into one of those downside fib levels. Look at this as well. Interestingly enough, Friday's gap higher, the low from Friday gets defended. So that's going to be a significant reference point, that 52.95 moving forward. And now, rally into the close, it's back into 53.33. So overall, pretty much just a repeat of Friday's session in reverse, right? You get the retest down into Friday's low, and then pretty strong rally into the close to retest that 53.33. As far as what we'll be looking at for tomorrow, it's pretty straightforward. We want to continue to watch how price trades versus this 53.33 upside level of interest. Has been a key resistance zone here in the near term. Let's see if the session volume, the structure's volume point of control has shifted. It did move down a bit. So it's moved down a bit into 53.20. This morning it was up into 53.33. So that is significant. I want to keep an eye on how that continues to build. But as far as tomorrow's session, 53.33 main watch, going to be a pretty similar approach to what we did today. Price has not made a significant move. So same levels remain on watch. Hope everyone had a good session. These are those types of sessions you want to be doing less, like I had mentioned this morning. Really making sure you are aligned with that A+ setup. If you have questions about anything, feel free to shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep. Have a good afternoon.